So the North American World Championship qualifiers just happened this past weekend, and there were a lot of interesting things that took place, and I kind of want to talk about some of those things. So, firstly, much like the European World Championship qualifiers, we had a bit of an eradicator memento. So, with Labyrinth being one of the best decks in the format right now, it has the ability to search functionally any normal, well, maybe any trap card in the game. And the card that a lot of players have been gravitating towards is Eradicator Epidemic Virus. And again, in another feature match, somebody got eradicated for basically their entire hand. So now pretty much everybody in the community is calling for Eradicator to be banned. But, I mean, I've said this before. I have a video on TikTok. I might have uploaded it to Shorts as well. I don't remember, where I talk about this. So a lot of people have been calling for Eradicator Epidemic Virus to be banned. I think that's probably fair. I don't necessarily think Eradicator is the problem. Eradicator is a problem, but cards like this usually become an issue when they become extremely searchable within a deck. You know, a deck whose engine functionally allows you to 9 games out of 10 be able to search a card as powerful as Eradicator makes a card like Eradicator a problem. Now, do I think that that's enough of a reason not to ban the card? No. Eradicator is still a huge issue and has seen heavy side deck play over the course of the past 10, however many years it's been out. Ever since Mystic Mine, I feel like there's been a shift in the deck building philosophy, especially here in the TCG, where a lot of people really have started to rely more heavily on spell cards. I mean, the fact is, Kashtira can't end on its full board without access to at least 2 of its spell cards. Arguably 3 if you count the field spell. So, Eradicator hits not just, branded for 5. It could very easily hit Kashtira for 2 or 3. Even just 1, and it could see a huge, downswing in the deck's ability to, push through interaction. So Eradicator is a problem one way or the other, and limiting it does nothing. The only way you're going to be able to keep this from being a problem is to just ban the card entirely. Now, aside from that, we had another memento at the NAWCQ, and that is with Dimension Shifter, a card that a lot of people have been calling to be banned for quite a while.
Sorry, all right, Villemon.
All right.
Draw phase.
It looks like Brendan is going to start, but Lars
immediately Dimension Shifter.
Devastating.
Now, when the 2019 Megatins first came out, Nibiru was very clearly the front runner in terms of power out of the 3 sort of going second promo cards from that set. Dark Ruler No More had its moment to shine too. And it feels like with the recent wave of powerful banished decks like Fluandereeze and Kashtira, Dimension Shifter has finally had its chance to shine. There was experimentation in decks like Thunder Dragon, but it wasn't until we started seeing decks that actively want their cards banished and want all of their cards banished that we started seeing this card get extremely powerful side deck play, and in some formats, main deck play, like in tier format. The card isn't that hard to play around for some decks, but for other decks, it's just a complete, turn skip, like Max C. And cards like that are such a huge problem. The fact is that, yes, a lot of the competitors at the NAWCQ were playing out of their minds, but several games were, decided by the fact that somebody drew Dimension Shifter. And it's that fact alone that really makes Dimension Shifter such a problem. The fact that it can just win an entire game and just skip an entire person's turn is the exact same problem with cards like, Droll and Lockbird, or like I said before, Eradicator Epidemic Virus. These cards that just, if your opponent draws them, you just can't play the game. And it's frustrating. Again, there's counterplay. There's ways to play around it. But you don't want to be put in that situation. And the fact is that a lot of times these decks, are being forced to play a suboptimal version of their combo. Off of one card, that's just not entirely fair. I can understand being forced to play a suboptimal version if your opponent opened 2, 3 hand traps, but off of one hand trap, being forced to just end on a single piece of interaction, it's not okay. But putting aside the cards that I think deserve to be banned because of their showcase at the NAWCQ, let's talk about the deck that had the absolute coolest showing at the NAWCQ, and that's Hero. If you did not see, I highly recommend watching the Top 64 feature match with Nathaniel Christmas.
When the Fusion Destiny comes down, he's already seen this much.
Oh, he used Neos again.
What? Zero.
Absolute zero.
Is this Time Wizard? We're not in Time Wizard. We're in 2023 right now. Miracle Fusion for Element Hero, Absolute Zero.
He's going to use Wonder Driver to add back Miracle Fusion. I think he's going to do it again.
Another Malicious. He still has the Fusion Destiny.
When will it be over?
I'll go ahead and activate Fusion Destiny.
Crowd erupts at seeing Fusion Destiny.
That game is absolutely wild. He played against Runic for higher Sprite and lost the die roll, and his opponent went like full combo, and he was able to pick the board apart like crazy. Proving once again, Hero has an insane ability to go second and just pick through boards, even if it doesn't seem like it. And really, the MVP of that match was Forbidden Droplet. But, other decks might not have been able to capitalize on the situation that Forbidden Droplet put him in. So, the fact that he was able to make it all the way through Swiss, only losing, I think, two matches the entire Swiss, in a field of Kashtira, Runic, Branded, Sprite, all of these games, and he was, brought up against this deck, and he said in the match, this was his first ever match against Runic for higher Sprite, and he navigated it like a champion. Obviously, he didn't make it all the way, but the fact that he made top 32 at all is absolutely mind-blowing and proves that Hero is still a deck worth keeping in mind. It is a great deck. Is it, meta? I would argue not, considering it only really had one entry in top 64. And honestly, it feels more like a really good player making it as opposed to like a really good deck. Like, obviously there were other people at that event playing Hero. There had to be, but only one of them cleared, right? So, to me, I think that decks like that do well because the player who's playing the deck knows the field, knows his deck, and is prepared for the event. Those are really what set a person and a deck apart, because they have to be in harmony in order for a deck like that to be able to clear as much as this one did. So seeing Hero top this deck, really warmed my heart. But what undid all of that was seeing that basically the entire top four was Kashtira. So I'm really hoping that they just absolutely slaughter Kashtira on this next list, because this deck has overstayed its welcome by a lot. And I want to see Eradicator gone. I want to see Dimension Shifter gone. Honestly, follow the OCG. Just ban Fenrir and ban Arise Heart. Do both. Get them both out of here. I cannot stand that deck. This could very easily be a tier limit situation like it was in the OCG, where they just kept doing consistency hits to the deck and it just didn't kill the deck. So we'll have to see how this goes. The Vsauce archetypal sort of group of archetypes has seen a lot of play. Vanadium seems to be doing well. Tier limits did well. Kashtira is doing well. So we'll have to see how all of that, plays out over the course of time. But, in the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one.